Well, welcome back, and I'm glad to have you for another edition of Inspirations with Carmina. We get to check in today with Mr. Sean Scales. He's back with new music. It's a new beginning. Beautiful song, y'all. Let's talk about it. It's Inspirations with Carmina. It's another edition of Inspirations with Carmina. I've got an amazing guest checking in with me, Doctor. Yeah, I got to put some respect on his name. Dr. Sean Scales is checking in. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. It's great to be on your show. Thank
Now,
you for
you're
having me.
in the Carolina, right?
North Carolina, Charlotte.
North Carolina. So tell me about how it is there. Are you under the stay-at-home order, or are people complying, or you're seeing people outside skateboarding and acting like nothing is going on?
Well, it's a little bit of both. I see people complying, but I see people trying.
Well, we're
Trying to
going
see
to
how much
pray.
they can get away with. Yeah, yeah.
Right, right. We're going to pray for them. Well, as for you, of course, working on new music, and you've got a brand new single, but let's do this. For people who aren't familiar with your music ministry, how would you describe your musical style?
Ah, wow. I would say it's just multi-generational.
Okay.
I can go traditional. I can go contemporary. So it's just a gift that God gave me to be able to touch the masses.
Okay. Okay. And how long have you been doing this? How long have you been in this gospel music thing?
Um, man, well, I started out singing in my dad's church and kicking him
Okay.
off the keyboard. I'm a PK, so I started when I was early there, kicking him off. I started on the drums and then
Okay.
started on the, piano. And then at the age of 15, he took me in the studio, and told me that the Lord showed him that, this was going to be one of the things that God is going to use to get his message across to the people that he has assigned to my life. So he kind of molded me in that direction, and we've been on that path ever since.
Okay. Okay. So starting out at 15 years old, and now, being able to bless us with even more great music. And we're going to talk about the new single, but talk about it. How have you grown as an artist? I mean, I'm sure there's some things you look at now, you're like, man, I can't believe I did that back then. So how have you grown?
uh, I would say more than anything, I think the level of anxiety to be at a certain place, at a
Okay.
certain pace with or in a certain realm or space with those who I see, and things of that nature. I think that has calmed down and dissolved a little bit,
Okay.
experience hope, patience, all of the above, and it's not
Mm-hmm.
making shame, so I think I'm understanding a little bit more than I ever have, that, okay, this is a little bit more intense than what you really know. You only see the where you want to be, but
Right.
there's some more preparation. There's more business acumen that needs to take place. And that's where I begin to learn the business. I'm a publisher, a songwriter,
Nice.
and with
Good.
BMI, and so royalties and things of that nature, and then accepting the way he takes me, the way
Mm-hmm.
I am allowed to proceed, the pace that he wants me to proceed. So,
That's
yeah,
good. That's good. So I think what I hear you saying is you now have a whole new level of respect for the process.
absolutely,
Gotcha.
absolutely.
Gotcha. Now, who are some of your musical favorites? Who are some of the people you're listening to and you're like, oh, I love them? Who is that?
Well, one of them would be one of the great legendary voices, Lowell Pye, my good buddy, my brother. And it was crazy. With Minna Standard, John P. Key, growing up listening to their sound, and years and years later, look at God, I end up writing for him.
Wow.
So that's one of my favorites. And then right along with beside him would be Isaac Curry, Marvin Winans, and then the Williams brothers. So you see where all the different
Mm-hmm.
styles start to come into play.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, my mom was always breaking open a record player. I was there when the record players, you know, um, with the Williams brothers, you know, early Sunday morning. I'm like, it's gonna come on. I'm just nobody.
I love it. I love it. But those classics, I mean, we can't let go of those. Those was some of the
No,
best music ever. I mean, come on.
absolutely.
So here's what I love. I love songwriters. So I'm so glad to talk to you because I think you have a different approach to when you're putting music together. You know, a true songwriter is more than just a great hook.
Yeah.
So kind of talk about the approach for you. Is it you're sitting in church and you hear something, you're like, that's a song. Or maybe you driving down the street and you're like, man, that's a song right there. I mean, how does it happen for you?
Man, it's actually all of the above.
Okay.
You know, I could be sitting in church. I could be on my job. I could be in my car. I could be in the shower. I could be asleep. You know, I've had times when God just, you know, I know it was him. You know, I don't want to mystify everything or make everything religious based, but I know all good and perfect gifts come from him. I know it's him. And so my father taught me that creativity is a world. It's a rim, a space. And when that comes in, you got to learn how to seize the moment. Have you ever come up with an idea and you didn't put it down, you didn't write it down, you didn't do anything, you just let it stay? And he said, you know, when you let those things remain in the open, you leave it for somebody to grab. You look on TV, boom, somebody's got your idea, got your song, got your message, got your book, and you like, man, because you never took possession of it. So, you know, that's the creative process, is really just taking a hold of what you're given, you know.
Wow, that's good. I'm glad you said that. That's good. And so here's what I want you to do. And we're going to talk about a new beginning, but I want you to encourage maybe some new artists or some songwriters that are at home right now. And of course, they're frustrated because they can't get out and move around and things like that, but they could really use this time effectively. How would you encourage a songwriter in this space? So you're at home, you're kind of stuck, as you in the computer, maybe you in the keyboard, maybe you in the Bible, you know, whatever it takes to get the words. How would you encourage them?
You know, one of the things I would encourage them to do is to continue doing what they're doing, even when the lights are not on, even when they're not on the big stage. This is the time where you can minister to yourself and you can minister to God, because we were created to give him worship. So everything counts. You know, this time counts, and it counts more. You know, one of the things is that he anoints our heads with oil and our cup runneth over. You know, a lot of times we don't realize this, but if we spend so much time pouring and nothing's being poured back into us, then we could be running on empty and not even knowing it. And although we're active, and making great advancements, there's still a level of emptiness that you feel because you're empty. And so this is a great time for you to, you know, to give to God and let him give to you. It's a straight, direct connection, you know, and then from the spiritual to the natural, making both tangible and practical, you know, really sitting down with the Lord in prayer and rewrite your vision, making sure that you have your vision right in front of you, and then just allow him to kind of lead, guide, and direct you. And just to give you some practical tips, if you're not a publisher or a songwriter with BMI, to do that with BMI is free. To be a writer, you know, to be a publisher is $250 in that regard there. So there's a lot of things that you can do as far as making sure that you're prepared from a business perspective.
Right.
You know, become a business. If you don't have an LLC, you need to get an LLC, get you a virtual address. You can look all these things up, and then look up how to build business credit. Because there's a lot of things that in the music industry, yes, God has a calling for you, but these things cost money. And you know, so how to navigate through those avenues, building business credit that's separate from your credit. Building business credit is going to open some doors up to you where you might not have been able to walk through them on your own, because you probably already have your own credit lined up and trying to position, you know, for your personal life. And then understanding that as you travel and you get music equipment and things of that nature, you can write these things off on your business in that regard. And you're still building your business credit. So that's just a small blueprint.
That's good.
Free of charge.
You need to charge people for that. That's good information.
Listen, people go to workshops and still don't get what I just told you.
Right. But that's good wisdom, and I'm glad you shared that, because like I said, I've talked to quite a few people, been really trying to use this time wisely, and so many people are just, I'm frustrated, I'm at home, I'm bored, and I'm like, no, use this as building time. So I'm so glad you shared the things that you shared, and let's talk about it now. We got to talk about a new beginning, which I claimed, and see, now this is why I really gravitated to this song and why I'm really excited to talk to you, because I was like, I was going through some things leading up to this whole Corona situation. And I was like, I'm coming out of this on the other side much better. And so when I heard the song A New Beginning, it was just perfect timing for me. And I'm sure somebody else is thinking the same thing. Okay, I'm on lock right now, but when I come out of this, I want to be in a new beginning. Kind of talk about that song, because I'm sure when the Lord gave it to you, you had no idea we'd be right here.
No, I didn't. I didn't at the time. A New Beginning is kind of dear to me because it basically commemorates the moment when I lost everything, save being a father to my two sons. My two sons via marriage. So I was going through a divorce, did everything I could to save it, and put it. I did all that I could do in that regard, and it just like everything I tried to do just wasn't working. And I wasn't going to let go of that, because we were taught, divorce is sin, and it is sin. But there's another level to it when the connection is now causing you to break connection with God, trying to save something that's lost. And so now you're at a crossroad, and sometimes in order for God to break you or get you away from something, he's got to break you. And I wasn't turning loose until they stole my car. I mean, stuff just started, and so I just had to let go. And so, I asked the Lord, I said, all right, well, during this process, I need you to do a couple things for me. I need you to continue to restore me, keep me in the process, restore me in the process, and allow me to be a father through everything. And God did all of that. And he responded back to me and said, I'm going to give you a new beginning. And he sung that song in my spirit 3 years ago. So I then, seeing how he said what he said, he walked me through the process, still walking me through the process, but I'm on the other side now, looking at where I was, and he's still walking me through it, but it's different view. I was in it, like, okay. All right, that must be in my head. So I put it down, and things of that nature. But then I moved from Columbus, Ohio to Charlotte, North Carolina, where I'm at now.
Okay.
And I end up at a church called A New Beginning. And so everything started to tie in. And then he said, I need you to sit still. Don't do nothing. And I just want you to sit under the word. And I'm going to repair you. I'm going to restore you right in front of this. So within that 2 years, my first lady, Pastor, Reverend Tawana Henderson, she was diagnosed with cancer. Then one of the ministers of music said, hey, I asked everybody, do they have a song for New Beginning? I got a song. And I gave them that song. And so we kind of walked through that New Beginning process in that regard. The original extended version has my pastor, Pastor Michael L. Anderson in the front saying, if any man be in Christ. That was me showing, honor and respect for the blessing that God allowed him to speak into my life just by being in attendance. It was no shaking hand and giving prophecies. He said, sit down, just listen, don't do nothing. Then he started to restore me. The minister of music found out that I play and things of that nature. And so she was like, oh, you just not going to sit down on this. But and then I heard the Lord say, now you don't find a place to do things. The places will find you. That's good. And so that's where that new beginning process And I had that song 3 years ago. I let it sit. I thought, I wanted them to do something with it. And then the Lord spoke to me in 2019, December, and said, that's good. That was nice. I didn't tell you to give that to them. That's your song. I want you to put it out now. Now? Yes, now. 3 weeks into it, this is where we're at on the billboards,
Wow. And see, okay, now I had no idea about the backstory. I just know that the song is so impactful, but isn't that how God is? He just works it out every time.
Every time.
I love it. I love it. So I want you to do this. I want you to tell people how they can connect with you, how they can keep up with you on social media, whenever we can go outside and play again, how they can invite you over. Let's tell people that.
Absolutely. Well, you can definitely follow me on my social media networks, Twitter, Instagram, and also Facebook. They're all at Sean Scales Music, at Sean Scales Music. And then for booking in that regard, and also to keep up with what I'm doing, you can go to my website, which is www.iamseanscales.com.
I appreciate it. Well, I tell you what, thank you for taking this time with me. Of course, we're going to get into it and we're going to continue to support A New Beginning. But I'm telling you, somebody's looking at this and yeah, they heard the song, but you've really blessed them with some of the things that you've said. And I appreciate you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's get into it, y'all. It's Inspirations with Carmina.